born in the land of riches, gold, oil, diamond bright. But our streets are stained with blood, but the youth fight for their rights. Protesting for a future, yet they're slaughtered in the night. While the leaders sit in silence, flying private jets in flight. They drive their bulletproof cars while we walk these streets. Say there's no money, but their jets fly with ease. Our children starve, but they're too blind to see. Muguland, why can't we be free? Muguland, Muguland. We're crying out for change, but they shoot us on the streets. Muguland, Muguland. We have all it takes to be great, but only corruption is great in the land. They say no money's left, but the rich keep getting fat. Their wrists shine with diamonds, private jets, imagine that.
Episode 16, The Return of Chief Bisola Eleniyan to Muguland. The death of General Basha Basha marked the beginning of the end for military rule in Muguland. In the power vacuum that followed, the military leadership, battered by years of internal strife and international pressure, finally conceded to hold elections. The tides of history were turning, and the once impervious military junta began its reluctant march toward democracy. This shift signaled to Bisola Eleniyan and his fellow Nakamud agitators that the time had come to return to Muguland and reap the rewards of their long struggle. The decision to return. In exile, Bisola and his fellow Nakamud leaders had fought tirelessly for the return of democracy. Now, with the military's announcement, they knew their moment had arrived. In a dimly lit London hotel room, Bisola sat with his closest allies, the core of the Nakamud movement. The announcement of elections had electrified them, but it also brought with it the realization that the fight was far from over. "We've fought for this moment," Bisola began, his voice filled with conviction. "Now that the military is stepping down, it's time for us to return home and take our place in the new Muguland." The room buzzed with agreement, but there was also an undercurrent of tension. The landscape in Muguland had changed during their years in exile, and new alliances had formed. "What about General Ibera?" one of the leaders asked, referring to the former military leader who had been jailed by Basha Basha on trumped-up charges of plotting a coup. "He's a Yorubawa, and the military might use him to keep a hold on power." Bisola nodded. "Ibera's position is complex. He was imprisoned by Basha Basha, almost executed before Basha Basha ate the Lebanese apple, and now he's positioning himself as a candidate for the presidency. But remember, the Yorubawas are demanding that the next president be one of their own. After Abisowo's election was annulled, they feel it's their right." The intrigue behind General Ibera's rise. General Ibera, a Yorubawa man with a storied past, had once ruled Muguland as a military leader. However, his fortunes had taken a dramatic turn when General Basha Basha, fearing his influence and potential threat to his own power, imprisoned him on false charges of plotting a coup. Ibera's imprisonment was supposed to end with his execution, but fate intervened. Basha Basha's sudden death spared Ibera's life, and his release from prison set the stage for one of the most remarkable comebacks in Muguland's political history. The Yorubawas, still reeling from the annulment of Chief Abisowo's election victory, were determined that the next president should come from their ranks. The scars of that betrayal were deep, and they would settle for nothing less than a Yorubawa president. General Ibera, who had suffered under Basha Basha's tyranny, quickly became their preferred candidate. A man who had survived against all odds and who now seemed destined to lead the nation. Behind closed doors, military leaders and influential elites, recognizing Ibera's potential to unify the nation, began to rally around him. His journey from prison to a contender for the presidency was nothing short of a fairy tale, a story that captured the imagination of many in Muguland. But Ibera was no fool. He knew that he needed the support of key groups, particularly the Yorubawas, to secure the presidency. The selection of Bisola to run for governorship of Alaye City. As the political landscape took shape, the Yorubawa elders and influential leaders convened to decide their strategy. While General Ibera was positioned to take the presidency, the question of who would lead Alaye City, the economic heart of Muguland, became the next pressing issue. Many seasoned politicians who had maintained their influence even during the dark years of military rule saw themselves as natural candidates for the governorship of Alaye City. However, the elders recognized that the Nakamud agitators, particularly Bisola Eleniyan, had played a crucial role in the fight for democracy. Despite being in exile, Bisola had earned the respect of the Yorubawa through his unwavering support for the democracy movement. He had provided not just material support, but also the psychological and tactical leadership that had kept the movement alive. His generosity, his strategic brilliance, and his ability to inspire loyalty made him the ideal candidate to lead Alaye City in the new era. But the decision was not without controversy. Other candidates were more popular, and some argued, more deserving. Yet the elders understood the importance of rewarding loyalty and sacrifice. In a final meeting at the home of one of the most respected Yorubawa elders, the decision was made. Bisola has given everything to this cause, the elder said, his voice heavy with authority. He has fought for us, bled for us, and now it is time for us to stand behind him. He will lead Alaye City, and through him, we will ensure that the legacy of our struggle is honored. The intrigue behind Bisola's selection. The decision to support Bisola was communicated to General Ibora, who, despite his own ambitions, and while he is a member of a rival party to Chief Eleniyan's party, recognized the importance of maintaining unity among the Yorubawa. Ibora, understanding the delicate balance of power, saw the wisdom in backing Bisola for the governorship of Alaye City. In a private meeting with Bisola, General Ibora extended his hand in a gesture of alliance to a fellow Yorubawa leader, despite the fact that both parties are from different competing political parties. General Ibora will be carrying the presidential flag for the Democratic People's Party, DPP, while Chief Bisola Eleniyan will be carrying the governorship banner of the Agodongo People's Party, APP. Alaye City is yours, Bisola, Ibora said, his voice measured and strategic. You've earned it, but remember, we are not just leaders, we are custodians of our people's hopes and dreams. Together, we can guide Muguland into a new era. Bisola looked into Ibora's eyes, recognizing the weight of the moment. I'll do what is right for our people, Bisola replied, his voice steady. Alaye City will thrive, and Muguland will move forward. But remember, General, the people are watching, and they will hold us accountable. The two men shook hands, sealing an alliance that would shape the future of Muguland. As the election date approached, Bisola returned to Muguland, greeted by crowds of supporters who saw in him the embodiment of their long fight for democracy. The path to power was not without its challenges, but Bisola knew that with the support of the Yorubawa and the strategic alliance with General Ibora, the future was within their grasp. In the end, it was not just Bisola's tactical brilliance or his material support that secured his place as the governor of Alaye City. It was the loyalty he had earned, the sacrifices he had made, and the trust he had built with those who had fought alongside him. The people of Muguland were ready for change, and with Bisola at the helm in Alaye City and General Ibora poised to take the presidency, it seemed that the long-awaited dawn of democracy was finally at hand. But in the complex and ever-shifting landscape of Muguland politics, nothing was ever truly certain. As Bisola prepared to take on the mantle of leadership, he knew that the real challenges were only just beginning. The battle for the soul of Muguland was far from over, and the future, as always, remained uncertain. Bisola Eleniyan's return to Muguland marked the culmination of years of strategic planning, relentless ambition, and an unyielding commitment to securing his place in the country's future. After years in exile, where he had amassed considerable wealth and influence, Bisola stepped back onto Mugulander soil with a clear objective: to claim the governorship of Alaye City State, the most prosperous state in Muguland, and to cement his position as a key figure in the nation's political landscape. The triumphant return to Alaye City. When Bisola arrived at the airport, it was a scene carefully orchestrated to project power and confidence. His supporters, many of whom had benefited directly from his generosity over the years, turned out in force, their cheers echoing through the terminal as they waved banners and chanted slogans in support of their returning hero. For Bisola, this was not just a homecoming, it was the beginning of his bid for power. His return was not just about nostalgia or reconnecting with his roots, it was a calculated move to consolidate his influence in the rapidly changing political environment of Muguland. The announcement of elections had created a power vacuum, and Bisola knew that he had the resources and the cunning to fill it.
Born in the land of riches, gold, oil, diamond bright. But our streets are stained with blood, but the youth fight for their rights. Protesting for a future, yet they're slaughtered in the night. While the leaders sit in silence, flying private jets in flight. They drive their bulletproof cars while we walk these streets. Say there's no money, but their jets fly with ease. Our children starve, but they're too blind to see. Muguland, why can't we be free?